Hello, Internet. Welcome to D&D Night. It's episode 217 of VarangianLP. And I am dead.
You are, and you're not alone. Dr. Kasaldak is also dead. Does anyone remember why or how these things came to be? What happened last time, a month ago, when we last had everyone all together and didn't have the more important work of killing kobolds to do?
We rolled concerningly well on determining who was trying to kill the Empress, and not well enough on what we should do after that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
We discovered the Empress, who's been sick on and off, was in the sauna area, supposedly good for her health.
Mm-hmm.
We figured out that Actus Ponchos Gaiork was the likely culprit behind it, and when confronted, he seppuku'd himself, and all the guards turned into some sort of dark creature that I can't remember the name of.
Nightwalkers.
That one.
Yeah.
That have been wrecking the party ever since.
I mean, there were
Also
6 of them.
Wrecked, but
there were 6 CR20 creatures, and now there are 2 CR20 creatures. So I don't know if wrecking is the right word.
There was a back and forth, for sure.
Yeah.
They have done damage, and they are next to the human chainsaw that is Zephyr.
Well, Elven.
Well, let's not put your contributions under too far under. Where you're blooding them when I'm finishing them off. It's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But part of the reason all these Nightwalkers were here is because we also had the wonderful guest villain of Despair, Delight's sister, who, in conjunction with her own sentient lich sword, appears to be on some kind of vengeance kick for Delight, for no reason that Delight is aware of. Which may have had something to do with the curses that were inlaid on both Raz, the sword, and Despair herself, which Dr. Kasaldak managed to disperse before her untimely death to a Nightwalker that is now currently being digested by a magical duplicate of Dimble Dargle, which was summoned by Revenue, our new alchemist friend. The Empress of Tuskar is currently semi-conscious in a maze dimension, where Zephyr sent her at the start of the fight to keep her out of the auras that would have killed her by now. Which, I'll be honest, was kind of what I was expecting to happen, so I'll be interested to see how Grom's coup and takeover of Tuskar goes, now that he knows that the rightful Empress is alive and entirely at his mercy. So we'll see how that all goes. Do we have some memory of what's going on in the broader context of things?
Mostly, yes.
Bad things.
Okay.
Yeah, I think immediate objective: survive.
Mm-hmm. It's a good objective. All right then, Captain Yumi. 2 of your allies have gone down. You have put several bullets into several of these sort of humanoid-shaped absences of life and light. One of them is looming in your direction. It is the start of your turn. Could you make me a Constitution saving throw?
Yes. My character sheet.
Oh. Wow. I guess that's a failed Constitution saving throw.
Oh.
Welcome back. Nope, don't welcome back.
His internet connection is rolling con saves.
It's something. Something's wrong, con saves. Is there anything else I've forgotten to remind the group? You do have Minev, your alien princess that you're stuffing divine souls into as quickly as you can, who is currently hiding in a towel room. Upstairs, there's the Imperial Consort Blackmore, who is still suffering from enough levels of exhaustion to not make him a threat. And also Grom's adoptive mother and his fiancee's mother and his fiancé himself are all just sort of chilling upstairs, totally not wondering if they're involved in a coup. But they seem to be willing to back it. My computer has gone seemingly insane, so move on and I'll be there in a second. Alrighty. Well, that takes us to cutscene land with Delight.
Oh boy.
Where are my notes?
Oh dear.
So Delight.
Mm-hmm.
It is dark in the void. You can feel the 3 tethers on your soul. The slimy, moist grip of Belial, your infernal ancestor. The steady calmness of the immortal Shu, to whose power you owe your reborn nature. And the razor-sharp ripcord that is your pact with Hanzo, the Lichblade. And on the other end of that seemingly endless ripcord, you can sense Hanzo himself still on the material plane, in the grip of the sort of raging fountain of vitality that is Grom, who is, when it comes to life and ties to the material plane, is denser than your average humanoid. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're in this sort of in-between state with these 3 tethers pulling at you, currently at equilibrium? Currently, you're being pulled in 3 directions with equal force, although perhaps not equal vehemence. You can probably sense that Belial is the more desperate of your 3 soul partners.
Yeah. First of all, can I roll to figure out where? Wait, these are called night walkers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I roll to think about where someone's soul goes when a night walker kills them?
Sure. If you want to roll religion or more difficult arcana.
That's a 21. Let's do religion.
Okay. Under normal circumstances, souls removed from the material plane by Nightwalkers are sent straight to the Shadowfell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Any sort of previous claim on your soul typically isn't in force anymore. You've got these are entities that can only exist in and can only pull themselves the material plane by sending replacement souls to the Shadowfell. The more that they can kill, the more of their own kind they can birth on the material plane and eventually drag the whole thing into the Shadowfell. However, you are more tethered to more things. So while you are very much dead and very much sort of still bound by the restraints that Nightwalker's place on souls moving around,
Mm-hmm.
you sort of hold your connections along with you. So you are likely in the Shadowfell, but you've also brought the infernal touch of Belial and the enlightened touch of the Shoe and the lich-hating touch of Hanzo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And as you realize this, you can feel the void around you shivering, shaking. Very unsteady is this emptiness.
In the... Well, and maybe just based on that lore, that role, in the lore of Fantasia, it's just the same Shadowfell as normal D&D? Is that what we're doing, or?
I'll be honest, I don't know that much about Forgotten Realms Shadowfell.
That's fair.
So you tell me what you would like to be true about it.
Mostly I was just trying to think about who would be in charge of that.
The Raven Queen.
Yeah, would it just be the
It's
Raven
at least
Queen, or
one
would
of the
it be
major figures?
Or would it be something different in Fantasia? I guess was all.
He technically has her own subdomain, I think, but
I am fine with that being the case. I've tried to avoid gods having like specific domains of power in the material, the sub pocket of the material plane that is Fantasia.
Yeah.
But there's no reason that the Shadowfell or the Feywild that it talks to wouldn't be the larger Shadowfell and the larger Feywild that interact with regular prime material.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that like what Craigness was saying, the Raven Queen has sort of taken a dominant space in the Shadowfell, but it was kind of... She didn't make it. It's not like hers. It's just like a realm sort of that exists out there. That she's like, oh, I can do good in this realm.
Yeah, I feel like the Shadowfell is non-materially vast. So whoever is in charge of the majority or the organized bit, you're probably not in their backyard.
Would I know if... do Nightwalkers just do this out of instinct, or do they serve somebody for this goal? Or is it just purely like almost like a elemental, just we want souls?
They are not particularly intelligent, so it's they do the elemental analogy is a good one. They're essentially this sort of ravening void that can be, by particularly subtle or powerful necromancers and mages, can be pushed and manipulated to certain ends. So it's unlikely that the Nightwalker that killed you holds any particular malice for you beyond the fact that you're a living thing. But an ancient lich soul like Raz, and potentially using the potential, like particularly powerful arcane conduit of your sister, could very much manipulate them into killing someone here. Because you do recall they did sort of pull themselves out of the Praetorian Guard, less shedding a disguise and more coming into the material plane through the sacrifice.
Like a doorway.
Yeah.
Like a 40k style bullshit.
Sure.
That's how demonic incursions happen sometimes.
There you go. That is basically what's happening here, except someone very clearly unlocked the door for them.
Let's see. I would like to make an Arcana roll about what a Nightwalker, how that would interact with the enemy, and if it would be a good weapon against it or not.
You can roll.
Because I mean, I don't know. Could one void eat another void and be fed by it? I don't know.
Someone's been watching the Wheel of Time.
So that's another 21.
So the enemy tends to feed raw material into itself. It is an intrinsically material thing. It's also unclear as to whether or not individual polyps have souls. So it's not entirely clear that a Nightwalker would recognize an enemy polyp or an enemy drone as a thing that it needs to kill. Because theoretically, the enemy is one biomass. So unless the Nightwalker was able to kill all of it,
Right.
Now, it's very possible that a swarm of Nightwalkers would be drawn to this enormous soul and try to kill it just out of instinct. But you're not sure how well that would work.
What about, well, okay, but, wait, the main bad guy is Giran, right?
Yep.
He's got a soul.
You sure about that?
You've seen little evidence of that, but yes.
He's got something in there that they'd probably like to eat.
Yeah,
right?
no, they would. These things would love to eat Giran as much as they'd love to eat anyone else.
So, okay. Now the question really is just the fact that this guy ate my soul. Can I get through to him in the way that I guess I could do it through one of my tethers, possibly, somehow.
You want to try to make a fourth tether.
Make a bargain to basically say, we're hunting a grand and, sizable and sort of like once in a lifetime, once in an eon opportunity kind of thing. If you spare us, we could bring you a pathway to that.
So, this Nightwalker has killed you, and your reaction is, "Can we be friends?" It's very delight.
But yeah, actually, the sort of the framing of it too should be through the lens of, you don't have to eat people's souls for evil. You can do it for good. You don't have to be a mindless monster. There's a more enlightened way.
Very shoe-like. I approve.
Hey, look, enlightened Nightwalkers would be the craziest warriors.
Are they technically an undead?
They are, yes.
Exactly.
It is your duty to bring them to the light of the shoe.
I suppose then, I'm whatever is left of delight that is able to draw from the tether that is the shoe.
Okay.
This, I guess, is this a persuasion check?
There's a couple things going on here.
Yeah.
So there's the attempt to make the Nightwalker willing to go after the juicier meal of Giran. There's the idea of enlightening it. Which of these are we trying to do both at the same time? Do we want to do one more than the other? What's our...
I mean, I guess the concept would be is once you are enlightened, you would see that we have a noble cause and want to help us. if it's even possible, but... So, I'd probably lean into that part. And I guess the other thing would... it's more like I'm just saying release hold of my soul and my friend's soul. In exchange, we will, at the time we are able, guide you to this, at this future time, we will guide you to this, this soul that will make you the greatest of Nightwalkers, or, I don't know, somehow appeal to what I think that motivates them.
What do you feel would be a reasonable level of power to expend on this attempt?
As in, like, I have this much battery in my soul as it sits. and I can use up a certain amount of it. Is that what you're?
I was
saying?
fishing for a spell slot expenditure, but if you
Oh.
want to expend, if you
like
want to
I come back
permanently,
with less spell slots.
if you want to permanently expend maximum hit points, that would be more powerful because you are yourself tethered to the shoe. So if you want to carve a little bit off of your soul where that shoe tether is and sort of feed that into the void around you, trying to get the Nightwalker that sort of has your soul contained in the Shadowfell infected with the enlightenment of the shoe.
How about
you
if
could
I?
definitely do that.
How about if I spend a 9th level slot and I'll roll for an amount of HP. What die size do you all think I should use?
I think you should use one of your.
100?
I think you should just roll a hit die. I would ask for a percentile if you weren't also using a 9th level slot. Since you are using a 9th level slot, I just need a little hint of you.
Okay. Does that mean my max hit dice also goes down by 1?
No, you still keep the same number of hit dice, but your max HP will be reduced by a hit. The roll. I think your hit die are d6s mainly because you're a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Roll a d6, add your con, subtract that from your maximum hit point permanently. Sacrifice me a 9th level spell slot, and then tell me what it looks like when the Shadowfell is enlightened.
6.
Dang.
But since you're expending a 9th level slot, I don't need you to roll anything.
Yep.
I was gonna have you roll for any and expend like a 6th or a 7th, but 9th will do. And I think I've been fairly consistent in the theory that 9th level spell slots are special and powerful and should be able to do things.
Like I don't directly have the wish spell, but by spending an equivalent slot, it certainly gets me somewhere.
I've said repeatedly over the past month, wish equivalency is acceptable as far as we are spending that amount of raw magical power. So yeah, you're able to sort of infuse the surrounding Shadowfell with the light of the shoe and carve off a little bit of your soul to anchor a tether to the shoe in this section of the Shadowfell. What happens?
The shoe is in vain.
Like a version of the emissary's skull that the light was given starts to sort of appear before her in like the hungry blackness, and a bit of and her rainbow like energy and light starts to emanate from it, and sort of starts to illuminate a small area, sort of like how in a really dark room only a small amount of light is needed to really shine brightly. And I don't know, maybe like after the space is created, she invites the Nightwalker to try and make this deal. So that, just like, I don't know. I don't know how to talk to someone in a void. I don't know
that the Nightwalker has a choice in it at this point.
Right.
But as light floods the Shadowfell, or at least this pocket of it, you do see there are other souls in your general vicinity. All of them sort of bound, not by the 3 sort of tethers that bound you, but by just sort of shadowy hooks and barbs that you, with your new insight into Nightwalkers, realize is a sign that they have been killed by a Nightwalker and are sort of anchoring their presence on another plane of existence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see 6 half-orc souls bound nearby, but you do not see the doctor.
Hmm.
Wherever her soul is, it also seems to have been interrupted on its way to the Shadowfell, in the same way that you were slowed by your tethers and sort of brought these 3 foreign powers into the Shadowfell. Could you make me a perception check?
Yes.
Say, Tim, while you roll, I just imagined a small Shinto shrine growing up around the skull.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Wait, shit, what was I rolling?
Perception.
Okay. Pretty good roll. 21.
The moist, slimy grip of Belial on your soul has loosened slightly, as it appears that a section of that tether, a bit like the Venom symbiote, is trying to split off from you entirely and just latch into the Shadowfell. And you can see a sort of dull red hellfire glow beginning to arise, where that section of tether has separated off from you and is now attempting to infect the Shadowfell.
Cool.
So, that could be a problem. But also, one of your 3 tethers is weaker than it was 6 seconds ago. That feels like 6 seconds of dead activity.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, no.
Good turn.
These were not things I was expecting to happen, which is the whole point of D&D. Just open the door, let players walk through. Speaking of which, Captain Yumi.
I'm back!
You're back!
We did it.
Could you make me a Constitution saving throw? Actually, 2, because you're in 2 auras.
Yes, I can.
And let me know the result of the first one first.
Okay, unnatural 20.
Okay.
And a natural 20 for 23.
Okay.
Let's start for the day.
So the natural 20 succeeds. You take 11 necrotic damage and don't grant the Nightwalker advantage on you. The total of 20 would have failed, but that Nightwalker, the green dotted one directly to your south that had killed Delight, you can see in the void light. Like a little rainbow sphere within its core that seems to be growing, and the shape of its head is changing. So could you please recover 18 hit points? And have advantage on your next attack roll, as a sort of inverse aura is coming out of this thing.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right.
Say it's the reverse Tom. He swears fealty to other creatures. This one's showing his fealty to Tim.
You know, when people are level 20, things happen.
And when you're the emissary of a god king, you know, it does mean something.
Yeah.
And this Nightwalker might live through the encounter compared to anyone.
The twist no one saw coming.
Winning strategy.
We'll see.
Or Captain Yumi might kill it right now.
Yeah.
Brain.
I'm still very much in the woods. So.
Into the woods. Into the woods.
Before in the woods. On a different path.
I mean, there are giants in the sky.
They Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds?
How is Brain going, Gregness?
I think it's dealing with the fact that the plans are now just gone, and now have to find new ones.
Yeah.
And
bad
more
idea
just
to have a plan.
also just refamiliarizing with the situation is
True. It has been a month since we've played these particular 20th
Yeah.
level
a lot to
characters.
think about.
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Kasoldak is...
She did.
She did.
There's also this anti-magic field around Dimple Dargle, which you may or may not be able to see. No, you can see. The joys of streaming.
Ah, okay. Can I tell that that's what that is?
Yes.
Okay, so then I don't even need to worry, because anything I would try to do to her would just not work right now. So,
Yep.
You
You could kill Dimple.
I could kill Dimple, but I think we'll just hold off on that for a second. And I will target the other
The yellow dot Nightwalker.
yellow dot Nightwalker here.
Okay.
So
He was already in the death corner, and now he also has your attention. I'm not confident in this guy.
The death corner.
I mean, it's what
so that'll be 32.
Yep.
Was that with the advantage?
Yeah, with the advantage.
Yeah, that will hit.
Okay.
I say for anyone in chat, Captain Yumi here does bonkers damage on his sneak attack nonsense.
DPS main, yeah.
I just want to take a clip of some of y'all's attack rolls and just send that to June.
Yeah.
Who, whenever I ask
Yeah.
her if a 30-something hits, her response is "fuck you." Get with the time, woman.
47 magical piercing damage.
All right.
And then we will go ahead and, lock and load a second shot into.
To be fair, June also once was like, "Oh man, my max damage is only like 147
to hit.
I'm sorry, 24.
Yep.
That'll hit.
Uh, 33 magical piercing damage.
2 solid shots. The cartridges bringing a lot of the material plane into this void and sort of forcibly filling it.
And one last shot.
One more time.
One more time.
Yeah, I think it's the same as last time. 24.
That will continue to hit.
Uh, 28.
Alrighty.
Magical piercing damage.
It sort of judders a bit with each impact, but is very, very much still there. Not yet bloody.
You can see in between the chunk shots, this second Sergeant Yumi's secondary set of hands is like flipping through like all the pockets and stuff, like opening up, the psi pad and checking out like what resources he has available, trying to figure out some sort of strategy to deal with the dead folks. So
Is Captain Yumi reading his own character sheet with his secondary arms?
basically.
Excellent. Would you like to stay where you are?
Let's see here.
You are within the threatened area of the green dot, and while it is sort of pulsing disco lights, it's not entirely clear whether or not it's still hostile.
Yeah. Sergeant Yumi will sort of slide around it, but basically stay the same distance away from it as he was before to get closer to Dr. Kasoldak, but still outside the anti-magic.
Your passive perception is a large number.
Yeah.
You can see Delight's body twitch, which
Okay.
it shouldn't do. Grom,
Okay.
you are holding Hanzo.
Yes, I am.
Through that link, you can feel something going on.
Something.
If you would like to make me some kind of magical awareness roll. I don't know what that would be, but
Oh, okay. We'll see how this goes. I have to check my sheet to see if using my staggering intelligence, because I've got nothing in Arcana, nothing in religion.
Delight's a warlock and a sorcerer, so why don't we use your charisma modifier?
It's the same as my intelligence modifier.
Okay.
But
Using a staggering charisma modifier.
Equally
You could
staggering.
give him advantage.
as a barbarian, I think I'm going to be okay because I rolled a 19.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And I have an intelligence of 14.
Okay.
So that's a 21.
That is a 21, and you do
Nice.
have. Hanzo would also like you to understand what's going on. So, Grom, you were able to witness that cutscene.
Oh, sick.
Fun.
And you can also feel Hanzo is a sword.
Yes.
You are aware of his intense awareness of the vulnerability of Belial's tether at this point.
I'm listening.
I don't know what you're listening to. You can feel Hanzo sort of quivering, and that you're aware of this sort of metaphysical tether leading off into darkness beyond what you could physically see. Hanzo wants to stab the devil in the face.
What I'm understanding is that I am currently holding a sword attached to a razor sharp extra physical whip.
Yes. That whip is anchored on Delight, but you're a martial barbarian. You could probably figure out a way to angle that to cut one tether with the other.
Yeah, no, I could think of a way to do that. Yeah, it's just a quick up and down thrum. What would you like from me in exchange to
I would like a high attack roll, and I would like a high damage roll.
Okay.
And if that doesn't do it, I might ask for a second one.
Okay. I don't know what I roll for Hanzo's damage, but
I believe Hanzo is +3. So I think the attack roll is the same.
Okay.
+3, 1d8 base, 2d6. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
2d6 radiant or necrotic, so radiant, and 1d6 fire.
Okay. I think since it's Belial, we can ignore the fire.
No. Everything will count. Hanzo is also versatile. You can two-hand him if you'd like to roll a d10 instead of a d8.
Okay. Metaphysically two-handing him.
Metaphysically two-handed.
Okay, so it's an 18 on the die, which would have been a crit with the axe, but isn't a crit with Hanzo.
Okay.
So
total.
Still a good swing.
So the total, when I put in my proficiency and my strength, is and his +3 nature, 37.
Okay. You pull or cut with Hanzo, and To Revenue and Zephyr, it looks like you're just hacking at the air. But with that cut, you are able to whipcord that razor sharp tendril and cut it in, like catch the Belial tendril right where part of it is sort of eased off. So you're essentially cutting into the thumb of the hand that is grabbing Delight. And you can see it cut through several bones. And he's now just got a finger and a half still on Delight.
Can I spend a rage to pull it all the way through?
Sure. What does that look like?
I'll just mark that down real quick, so I don't have to remember. From everyone's points of view, but Delight's, it just looks like Grom is glowing brighter than he normally does, to the point where the stones under his feet are starting to melt. From Delight's points of view, the razor sharp ripcord that is Hanzo's connection to you will thrum and vibrates, and Hanzo's soul looks like black and white with shoots of red through it most of the time. He sees things very binary, and the red is merely his rage. That red will double and redouble throughout his soul as Hanzo shares in Grom's cataclysmic fury. The whole chord will thicken and thrum. It's like someone is plucking a guitar string the length of a planet, and then that loop drawn around the grip of Belial will feel that whole thrum go through it and tighten, just rip straight as a note plays through the void.
Delight and Grom and Hanzo can all hear a great cry of pain and rage. And over here to the southwest of our map, where Despair is sort of dazedly sort of on her knees in the water, you can see a sudden loosening of her posture. She just suddenly goes a little limper. But that's one attack.
Yeah. And, I have this thing in front of me and an axe. And I think I need to make a con save, don't I?
You do. You are starting your turn within Nightwalker land.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. 28.
All right. Merely take 14 necrotic damage.
Yep, no worries. I think I might have temporary HP. Yes,
You're
I do.
hasted as well, if you don't remember.
I'm what now? Hasted?
hasted.
Yes, I do remember that I'm hasted. That is temporary HP.
Oh.
I'll take that away instead.
So I stuck that syringe in your chest.
I wonder where you got that idea. Sorry. But this thing.
Yes.
This thing. Yeah, I'd like it to die. And let's use the attack action. 28 to hit.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Come here, D12. Come here, D6s.
I increased these things AC by 8, and it still hasn't mattered. Because they only have 14 AC in the book.
Oh, well, that's fair then.
Yeah, that's
more than fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
CR20 thing with an AC of 14 seemed not appropriate.
21, 24. Double check that. 28. What am I missing? It'll come to me later, I'm sure. 28, 32, 37 slashing and psychic damage.
Ow.
Okay. Hasted action attack.
Now we are bloodied.
I knew we'd get there. Natural 20.
Those often hit.
Use the dice roller. Because it's just simpler.
Now we enter into the mathematics phase.
I say, I have been taking a math class.
Yeah,
Just to play this character,
yeah, for
I'm
like
not
5 or
surprised.
6 years.
Yeah.
That's D&D for you.
Turns out barbarians are the math class, not wizards.
Just dice every
Oddly
fucking where.
enough, yeah.
Do you want to add a superiority die in there?
I am adding a
Okay, good.
superiority die in there.
Do I need to make a save associated with that?
Ordinarily, I'd say yes, but
Ooh, we're cocky.
it's the only thing that would work is my tripping attack.
It is.
Can these things be pruned?
They cannot be pruned.
Yeah, like you described them as kind of floaty, and I was like, that doesn't sound trippable.
It is in the long list of things they're immune to.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's look through my character sheet, make sure I'm not missing things. Can't use that because that doesn't work. There we go. Okay, I knew I was missing something. Can't be missing out on my elemental cleaver.
Is what happens when I just keep stapling other class features onto people's builds.
Yeah, that's basically how this is working out.
I mean, that's kind of what magic items are. They're kind of like a la carte classes.
Well, that, and he specifically has that ability because I gave him.
These aren't items. These are things that.
That he just can do. That he learns.
This was you've done a magical thing. Here's 2 or 3 options that you could choose as to how that reward manifests. And one of them was just have some Path of the Giant features.
I mean, it's fair enough to just be like, hey, I don't need to create new features as a reward. They're all here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks to some
think about synergies, I guess.
Terrifying rolls of that D12. We are at 124 damage in a mixture of slashing, psychic, and thunder damage.
Did you also boost their hit points?
Sorry?
I think the question was asked, did you also boost their hit points?
I'll be honest with you, I boost everything's hit points.
Yeah.
Entirely fair.
Usually same. Usually max is my baseline.
Yeah. But even without the boost, it would still be alive. But you have just carved through the core of this thing, and you can very clearly see, like, when these things are in full vigor, they are just this absence, this dark void, a stain upon the material plane. But this stain is pretty close to being cleaned up, and you can see right through it. It's a translucent pane of glass now instead of a black void.
As I crit, I get to use my bonus action to attack.
The greatest of the weapon masters.
Yep. 29 to hit.
Yep. That'll do.
Okay.
Yeah, Alexa. Keep your switches off.
That won't do anything. So
my door just creaked open like a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Belial's coming for you.
I'm turning my fan off because some cold air is coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Creepy.
okay. 5, 15, 19, 22, 25, 31, 35, and 40. 40 damage in a mixture of slashing, psychic, and whatchamacallit, thunder.
Mm-hmm. The back strike again carves this great gape hole in the hole.
Rending
the rent in space. It is flickering, but just barely still here.
That is,
as is tradition.
I'll say I will move. These things have reach, right?
You have noticed that they seem to have about a 15-foot reach. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I will move to here, dragging Hanzo with me, and move him to the other side so that he's closer to Delight.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I just want to get Delight inside my aura.
Ah. Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to do?
Nope. That ends my turn.
Zephyr, you begin your turn in Nightwalker's Sadness. Could you make me a con save?
I'm making one or two. I don't know if I'm close enough to the other one.
I also don't think you're close enough to the other one. On my screen, yeah, you're fine. Just the one.
Okay. Cool. Oh, good. 23.
23, all right. You only take 17 necrotic damage. Otherwise, free to continue.
Yep. I'll move a bit closer.
Mm.
And then, as part of my attacks, first one will be, I'm trying to remember. I feel like we settled on force being a type of magic damage that got through these things' resistances. Am I remembering that right?
Yes.
Well,
I don't know if you ever figured it out, but what you were remembering is true. If that makes sense.
We tried a bunch of things, and then somebody rolled high to identify stuff about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder, and necrotic and poison are bad ideas.
Okay. So most of my usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am hitting as hard as I am because my axe ignores resistance.
So let's go ahead and magic missile this thing with level 5.
Nice. Okay. Roll me some d4s.
We get some force damage going.
Or 1d4. Because apparently there's dispute about how damage with that spell works.
I've heard about this before. What is that?
Essentially, I believe because every dart is part of the same instance of damage, there's the way that the actual rules of spell damage work. You should only roll once and then multiply by the darts. I think that is supposedly technically correct. It just doesn't feel as cool as rolling 8d4s. So
the question, but it comes down to, does every dart do the same damage or not? Which, if every dart does the exact same damage, it can be very OP just to create a magic missiler, because then every addition to that number you give is multiplied by every addition. So if you can add a d10 and a d6 to that spell, suddenly it's turns out to be 5d10 and 5d6. That's why people don't like that way of ruling. it becomes, every wizard is just a magic missile machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
More warlocks, we find out.
Yeah. But 7d4 plus 1, even without shenanigans, is still probably going to be enough.
Cool. So I rolled a 2 on the dice. So that's 14 plus, I guess, 7. So 21 damage.
Yeah. You pummel the Nightwalker into oblivion. It's sort of translucent, barely able to maintain its presence on the material form body, just vanishes beneath your display of arcane might as you dance on over to the other one.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do a little pirouette.
Oh yeah.
Over Gaiork.
Oh, absolutely. That's like a whole.
Yeah.
Do some like leg kicks.
So rolling 2 attacks with a bonus of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull out that sheet again. We've got it all written down separately.
I may have. The sword may be more complicated than it needs to be.
Right.
I just think it's a cool Blade Song Wizard thing to have a sword that hits harder after you've cast a spell.
Fuck yeah!
Very cool. Love that.
That's 20 on one of those.
Hell yeah.
So that sounded like a good number.
And a 10 on the dice plus 4, 5.
Oh, I see this thing is dying.
3.
Excellent.
Okay, so that's 6 plus 4 plus 5.
That sounds like a hit. 6.
Yeah,
6
that sounds
plus
good.
4 plus 5 plus 10.
That's plus 3. Okay, yeah.
2 hits.
Let's see.
Although, as you approach this Nightwalker, it is different than the others now, in that it's sort of seems to have a sort of rainbow sphere glowing in its chest, and its head is sort of changing into a more skull-like shape.
True. This is the one. This is the one that he was working on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I suppose
It's still.
I've already rolled the attack.
It still killed Delight, so.
I mean, you could also just roll like Arcana or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do that also.
Sure. Roll me some Arcana. See what's going on.
Okay, it's 9 plus a lot. Where is it? Here it is. 12 for 21.
How familiar are you with Shugazian Reborn?
He's encountered quite a few of them, I feel like now. Previous to his adventures, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, intentionally not at all. Like, he's probably was aware of their existence, that they were a thing, but all undead were things that he did not like to be around.
Now suddenly you have more experience with them than 99% of the population.
Yeah.
You fought alongside 2 of them now.
No,
He's
3.
been forced to a certain degree
3?
to just kind of interact with
Nobu.
them.
Nope. I forgot about Nobu. Yes, 3.
All 3 of them.
So you're probably
He's technically met the Enlightened True.
You've met the Enlightened True. You've met the Battle Matron who sort of perfected the process. You're much more affiliated with this than you used to be. You are aware that the proper way to make a reborn involves quite a bit of self-reflection and like layers of awareness being reached as sort of power is infused in you and a link to the immortal shoe is created. You've never seen the process happen from the inside without the creature's full buy-in. But it is very clear that that is what is happening here.
Mhm.
That does not necessarily mean that it's non-hostile. That does not necessarily mean much, except that if it survives through the metamorphosis, it will have a connection to the immortal shoe.
Can I make it more complicated for you, Jeremiah?
Absolutely.
I'll offer the hilt of Hanzo.
Jesus.
Say, she's through here.
It'll certainly give you more
Reach.
info.
Reach in
Yeah.
and see what we can do. Like, I'm pumping red down the line of Hanzo, which will eventually get to Delight. I'm saying, hey, you want to add some of that zesty green? Do you want to help me help Delight invade the Shadow Realm?
The dice say yes.
Take my hands. Come on, boy. Won't you take a poor sinner's hand?
End of Guardians of the Galaxy vibes.
So you reach out
Mhm.
to Hanzo. What's your current parliament seat count?
Oh no. Let me. Where is that? That's in the journal.
Yeah.
Well,
I
okay,
know.
you-
I know. We
intentional.
recently purged one of the three political parties.
Yeah.
You're not a son of Belial. You might be okay.
I'm more questioning how connected to Clarion he is right now.
Get a 2-for-1 soul severance deal.
Well, Clarion is Hanzo's brother.
True.
Yep.
It's gonna make a difference whether that's a positive or a negative
Yeah,
difference.
that
We'll
is
see.
that makes it spicier in many directions. Perhaps.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
think of that.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I just remembered that myself.
Ooh,
I can
I'm
write
so
this on the
happy.
character sheet too, so give me a second. But it looks like 12 total seats was what the number was assigned.
All right.
There was a period, according to this, where it was
Yeah.
4,
you
4,
were-
and 4.
Mhm.
Where's my pencil? Venthu lady
Mhm.
was completely eliminated,
Mhm.
and then Clarion and the dragon were both reduced to 2.
Okay. So you have 8 of your own seats, is what I'm hearing.
And 8 of my own seats.
Okay.
And I think I have since then been fairly careful about not giving up anything.
You have. As you touch
Sure.
Hanzo,
Oh boy.
you are suddenly aware of everything that has happened in the Shadowfell.
Okay.
You can see the sort of bloody, severed hand of Belial that has been cut away from the light. And you can see the other 2 tethers sort of pulling her away from the Shadowfell now that essentially Hanzo and the shoe can work in concert and don't have that third tether in the way. And you can see the sort of Shinto shrine growing and the rainbow light expanding throughout the Shadowfell, and you can see the souls of the Praetorian Guard, or Praetorian Guard, I suppose. But you also become aware that as you touch Hanzo, and as Rasha, the third brother, is in the same room, even though he is in an anti-magic field currently, that as you make contact with Hanzo, this is the closest the three Lich brothers of Araqueth have been to each other in eons.
Oh no!
And you can feel your own sword, the Prancer's Prowess. You can feel the necromantic workings throughout it and the hollow space in it where it was built to be Clarion's final refuge. You're holding the sword Clarion would have been if he hadn't escaped the brothers' betrayal, or perhaps done it himself. It's unclear. So as you're touching Hanzo and you can feel how his soul slots into his sword and how that links to Delight, you could take advantage of what's in of that empty space in that sword, and you could fill it with something.
Oh no!
Oh, I've provided sweet temptation, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah, I'm in the sword.
Do you want Hexblade levels? Do you want Eldritch Smite?
Ooh.
Do you want to put the seats in the sword and not have to worry about them anymore?
Oh.
Say, put a dragon in a sword.
You could put a dragon in the sword.
This feels like a question for the dice. One moment.
Oh no.
You might actually be able to use shape change to turn into something other than a bronze dragon if you put the dragon in the sword. Like you can solve so many problems, or make more.
Mm-hmm.
I think in solving some problems, you might make more anyway.
It's sort
So to
of
clarify, when you say make more problems,
That's just something that I say anytime you have any decision.
Well,
Okay.
I mean that's the
I was
classic.
wondering what that route was. So we can
That's the
explore
classic
that.
D&D thing. Is like magical stuff's happening. Do we do this or that? Do we break the thing, or do we let it finish, or do we touch it? And do we make it better, or do we make it worse by doing any of those things?
It feels like whenever we come back to this campaign after a hiatus, we tend to spend a session just talking. I'm glad that we're doing that this session as well.
The lore is just so
doing
densely
that. We're
layered.
also killing things.
The lore is so densely layered that sessions where we're in combat the whole time are deeply RP laden. It's great.
We can also blame Tom for that.
Oh. But we could get cheap viewers on streamview.com.
Oh, yes. Awesome. I've been
that's what
looking
we
for
really
cheap viewers. What a coincidence.
What are the dice telling you, Jeremiah?
Okay.
Burn them all.
Time to ban the robot named Addictive Myriad.
As I'm in this moment, as he's weighing the options that have suddenly been thrust in front of him, he understands at least some of the nature of the transformation going on before him with the creature. And there's a hesitation about striking it down right now. Turning his attention to the sword and the realization of what could happen with it, his hand is still on Hanzo. Basically, Zephyr will try and focus into that connection and see if he can communicate to Hanzo this flash of an idea of putting Clarion in the blade. Is that something that he would like? Both I as a player and I as a character, I'm only kind of understanding the history between the brothers. And because of his initial fear of the undead, he has not tried to explore that at all.
Mm-hmm.
which is a choice he's now regretting slightly.
War
So,
is cool.
Well,
Not like
the whole relationship between the brothers comes from a sentence of your Araqueth world building, in which it was rumored that there were these 3 Lich Kings, and it was sort of themed after the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and one of them ascended to become death itself. And that has dovetailed nicely with everything that Tim has given us about Hanzo. So the exact specifics of what's happened, that is up to the 2 of you. But my theory is that when the overthrow happened, when Araqueth rose up in rebellion against its Lich overlords, there was a backup plan, a way of escape, because Liches be Liches. And that resulted in Rasha and Hanzo being bound in their swords, and sort of Hanzo fighting to the death in the Shugazian ruin that Delight found him in, and Rasha going off and having the series of events that led him to be in Despair's possession. Whereas Clarion was able to just bypass the whole thing, essentially fake his death, and then went on to found Clarion's Embrace and build that whole underground undead empire from the ruins of the sort of Araquethian revolution. But he's always had the sword, and he probably had to, since you got the sword from Empress Ileana, it's probable that fell into the hands of the Araquethian rebels while he was escaping. So this is...
Or he put it there deliberately.
Depends on how much credit you want to give Clarion. He was a divination wizard back in the day. And he has saved your life before. He has had a purpose for you this entire time. So I guess my question is, do you want that purpose to be getting him in his sword and reuniting him with his brothers in this specific instance?
I think yes.
All right. Then yes, that does seem like a thing that could be done. And really, if this is all part of the grand plan to make sure that Clarion is present as you save the universe from Giran, you probably don't have to expend any resources to make it happen. You just have to get out of the way. So I guess the question is, are you willing to get out of the way?
Yes, he will. I don't know if it's a question of allowing it to flow out, Clarion influence to flow out of him, or if it's a barrier to let down. He will cautiously let that happen.
You sort of open the door and gesture. You can mark down. There's now just the 2 dragon seats and 10 Zephyr seats in your parliament. You've purged yet another level of influence. And the sword just begins to glow a sickly green. Could you... How many levels of Hexblade would you like?
No.
20.
All of them.
I mean, if you want to deal with that level of complication.
No, I do not.
You could also just, like what you did with Delight and Frankie, maybe just add some Hexblade stuff to the...
that makes sense. Let me look at Hexblade.
That's kind of what I'm doing too, is it like prestige class enough to have abilities show up but not...
I think I think I want you to have Eldritch Smite.
Okay.
That at least.
I mean, that's what he did with the
Sensible.
sorcerer stuff. Is you didn't like actually gain levels; you just
Yeah.
gained abilities equivalent.
Yeah. I've never found the Accursed Spectre to make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And
doesn't really fit.
the curse, I think, is just one more thing to track, and I think the sword is already complicated enough.
You could also borrow from the Undying or Undead Warlock. You could check what they have instead of a Cursed Spectre, perhaps.
I think what I want to do is give you Life Drinker and the 2024 version of Life Drinker, and whichever version of Eldritch Smite you'd like. And I want to increase the base enhancement bonus of the sword to +4 instead of +3.
Okay.
I would also like you to be always under the effects of Death Ward as long as the sword is on your person. And if you would like more than that, we can talk about it later. But I think that is
I'm good with that.
I think that is sufficient.
That is both thematically appropriate and otherwise.
Yes.
I do have to figure out what 2020 Life Creature does.
It is Clarion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, does that mean he can't die from direct hit point damage because Death Ward will just re-up instantly?
Death Ward will trigger once and then
Yeah.
not again until he's finished a long rest. That was what I was intending. The way I said it, yes, he would never die.
Well, no, he wouldn't die from hit point damage.
Yes. Power word
He'd have
kill.
to be like insta-kill stuff or stuff like that.
Also gain, you know how Portent works for divination wizards?
Yes.
Gain one d20's worth of Portent. So instead of the 2 that they normally get, just roll the sort of every day roll a d20 and just have that banked. Which is a little more housekeeping for you, but it is Clarion and it is thematic.
Well, and it's a good enough ability that it's worth making the effort.
Sure.
Well, that sounds like 6 seconds. You've killed a Nightwalker, you've thought about killing another one, decided not to, had a revelation about the state of the universe, and reclaimed control of your own soul a bit more, and upgraded your sword. Is there anywhere else you would like to move? Because I think you still have some movement left.
I do, but I can't get out of the creature's range, and I don't want to attack of ops, so I'll stay here and just be present to see what it does next.
Alrighty.
Kind of scanning whatever I can see of its features, looking for intent.
All right. So you're ready should it turn violent. Is what that sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to Despair, and I have a question for Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Despair is going to spread her wings and sort of push out and sort of fly up from Dimble, thus provoking an attack of opportunity. Does Dimble want to take it?
Would it just be a regular punch?
Well, he has the Purple Worm Bite attack currently from the super special he drank.
Oh, yeah.
So he would potentially swallow her.
Okay. I mean, he doesn't know the situation. I guess, you try and swallow her.
Okay, roll me a d20. I will add the appropriate numbers on my end, and we'll see if that hits.
It's a natural one.
Okay. Dimble opens his sort of toothy wormic maw with the rows and rows of sarlacc teeth and just chomps onto empty air as Despair flies out of the anti-magic field and sort of shakes her head and has a bit of a telepathic conversation with her sword. And then her sword casts a spell.
Oh dear.
Does that happen?
Can anyone stop it?
Where? Depends on how far.
40 feet from you. 35, 40 feet from the captain.
Counter spell is what?
Third
60
level.
feet.
2 feet?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a just generally good idea to confound.
Okay.
Counter spell. Or at least force the use of resources. I'll roll if I need to.
You will force the use of counterspell from Roz. Roz will counter your counter. Unless someone
Let's
counters
go
his
ahead
counter.
and make them roll, though.
Okay.
I have higher level spells.
Okay.
Let's go with a good old level 5. You can always roll low. Probably won't.
Are you sure you want it to be level 5 specifically?
That's right. The global vulnerability is a thing, isn't it?
Well, no, that has been conked out by Despair getting stunned by the doctor and then in an anti-magic field. So it'll work. I'm just asking because I already rolled the check, and so I'm just making sure that you want to specifically use a 5th level slot.
Hmm. Well, I'm plumb out of 8th, 9th, and 6th. I'll roll the dice. How serious am I about trying to stop this? Damn it. Apparently serious. Let's burn that 7th.
Dang it. Would have made my life so much simpler if you had just rolled the 5th. Your newly focused arcane power just punches through Roz's solo attempt to counter you, because it was just the sword and not the combination of the sword and the bearer trying to counter your spell. And you notice the domination magic flowing from the sword severed by your own power, as you have foiled Roz's attempt to retain control of Despair for the time being.
Yeah.
So she is going to dash. Actually, no, she has a bonus action teleport. She's going to teleport over to her sister and not have a useful thing to do. She will spend an action attempting to perform CPR.
Makes sense.
That is a natural 20.
Wow.
So
She's trying to help.
she is trying to help.
I mean,
Now, I think in a metaphysical sense, she's going to, since she also has the same sort of tether on her soul, and you are in yourselves connected as loving siblings, I think she's going to end up just crawling down the Hanzo tether to you and start to pull you back up.
Nice. Makes sense.
So congratulations, you have a hit point.
Yay.
And we'll have her we will have her sacrifice a 9th level slot to do that.
Okay.
Just to make the wish thing happy. Then it is the Nightwalker's turn. The glowing Nightwalker with the green dot will continue to glow, and its face will shift into a sort of human skull. And it will attempt to float in this direction. Is it allowed to do so?
What? I don't know if this thing is. I'll roll insight.
Okay.
Is it attempting to gain distance between us to flee? Is what I'm looking for, or is it looking to get us out of its aura? What is it like?
That's a good question. Roll.
Insight, I believe I'm proficient in, but not the great modifier. Yeah. So it's right. It's just my proficiency bonus. Which is solid at this level.
Yeah.
So
but
that's
still,
actually better in a lot of cases at this point. Yeah.
So that's a 17.
Okay. You can tell that even though it is walking north towards the door, actually, wait a minute, as I consult my map, that is the right direction to go. It is looking past the door in a northerly direction.
Okay.
I'm going to briefly move us to the world map.
I was about to ask, is it moving perhaps directly in line with
shoe?
It is
shoegazing?
moving in this direction. So a little northeast.
His
Okay.
daddy calls.
I don't know what just happened, but that guy probably knows.
I have a new light in my consciousness. I'm going to follow it.
I will allow it to go.
It opens the door and walks out and closes the door behind it.
Oh my
Okay,
god,
great.
Mom.
It closed the door.
Wait, it's a villain.
You're right. It leaves the
I
door
made a
open.
mistake.
It leaves the door open because it's not evil, and then it goes up the stairs.
Good.
I mean, it's evil, but it's not that evil.
Right.
There is
Meanwhile-
always hope, even for the darkest souls.
Meanwhile, the Nightwalker inside Dimble Dargle hits and does at least 5 damage, disintegrating Dimble Dargle.
No.
No.
And then did it get its? It did get its finger back.
Oh shit.
So, Captain,
Yes.
could you make me a wisdom saving throw against fear and paralysis?
Could you remind me why Dumbledore was here?
Revenue drank a Dimble Dargle special and rolled the ability to create an exact copy of someone that he named.
And he
And he chose Dimble Dargle, who, in response to suddenly being somewhere he'd never been before, drank a Dimble Dargle special of his own, proccing his purple worm swallow ability and an anti-magic field.
Okay. Thank you.
What kind of save am I making?
Wisdom, please.
Wisdom. 19.
All right. Could you take 48 necrotic damage, and are you immune to fear?
I don't think so.
I also don't think you are anymore now that you don't have the Vinthu implant anymore.
Yeah.
So could you please be afraid, and while you are afraid, be paralyzed?
Okay.
Then we'll float on up
Is there anything that I could do about that?
and try to punch Zephyr, which is a 26, which I'm pretty sure misses Zephyr.
It does, yes. Actually, wait, let me check a thing.
I doubt with a wisdom saving throw.
Yes, it does. I don't have a reaction, but a 26 still fails to get past my current AC.
Okay.
So I don't have the shield advantage right now, but 27 is what you're looking for.
Okay. Dr. Kasaldak,
Yes.
you are dead.
Yes.
But in the void, you can see a constellation of stars. Thousands, tens of thousands of bright pinpricks of light. except one, which instead of being that full, glowing, perfectly circular sphere of light, is a crescent. A little sliver of light, clearly clearly not perfectly formed, clearly missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel yourself drawn towards that little sliver, little crescent of light. There is something familiar about it, something that calls to you.
Okay.
As you are being pulled towards that, could you make me some kind of I'm aware of my surroundings check? I think that's probably perception.
Okay.
Perception or insight, whatever.
Yeah, I'd accept insight.
It was on the 20 side, and then it went whoop.
I hate it when they do that.
So which direction did it go on after 20?
To find out in a second. Which was it? Perception or insight?
Whichever you'd prefer, although I believe you being in dragon form affects that.
Right. Sorry. Intelligence, wisdom, and con saves have a floor of 15.
Yep. So it sounds like you rolled a 15 plus whatever your whatever your modifier is. Yeah.
So it was a save, not a check, then?
Is it saves? I thought it was intelligent. I thought it was wisdom checks.
I have it written down as save. But I can also look back at.
Because I remember commenting on how it made your medicine checks absurd.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, intelligence or wisdom check or con save.
I have to write that differently on my sheet.
And specifically con save to maintain concentration.
There were a number of ors in that,
Yes.
so I can see why that could get mixed up.
Yeah, there's a chain of conjunctions.
So you're trying to shorthand things.
Yeah.
So yes, instead of an 8, that's a 15.
Yeah. Plus whatever your bonus is.
Plus my perception is plus 12, so a 27.
Okay. You have these lights, these souls that you're seeing. You've seen that pattern before. Carved into the floor of Giren's sort of private sanctum / lab. And as you are drawn towards that little crescent, a little sliver of what you now recognize as a soul, you approach and you feel contact, and it's like shaking your own hand. And you suddenly hear a familiar voice. Dr. Galos. Doctor, are you well? And you're aware of this feeling that is yours, but not quite yours. A sudden surge of impatience, and you flex your new articulated carapace. A stinger whips out, taking Dr. Galos in the face. The flesh of his face bubbles and pops as your new venom ignites his blood. And as he screams in agony and keels over, you can hear nearby Giren giving off a low, pleased chuckle. What would you like to do?
As I have control of this strange body, kind of. And apparently just killed a man.
Well, your body just killed a man, and you felt what would be to you out of character impatience.
So this is the other doctor didn't say a name when they were asking if I was okay.
Very specifically just said doctor. Although if you'd like to make an insight check, you might be able to read something about his relationship to the person that now has a carapace and a stinger that just killed him.
Yeah. My internal thoughts as I play her and thinking out loud is that this is whatever abomination Giren's made of her husband who was supposed to be dead.
That's possible.
Insight, you said?
Insight would work.
So with the floor of 15, that is a 21.
Okay. You have seen him look at someone like that before. A sort of mixture of fear and pride, and not exactly affection, but respect. It was basically plastered on his face every day that he was running tests on you after your accident.
Mm-hmm.
And as you think about your accident,
yes,
there's another memory that you have of it now, that you're in this body.
Oh no.
As you're re-downloaded from the net into a new body after your previous one perished or effectively perished in that stellar accident. And you oversee Dr. Galos's notes as he is tending to the abomination that's been created by this lab accident fusing what's turned out to be a section of your consciousness into this sort of radiant absorbing thing that shouldn't be able to exist. Like it shouldn't be breathing while you're in a more correct body. And you can remember comparing notes with Giren and thinking about how this could possibly apply to the greater problem of the enemy and the project related to that. And it's odd that, before the accident and your re-download into, this new sleeve, you've had all these moral objections to the plan that you've just been kind of tamping down, but now they're gone. Almost like you that whole part of you that had moral qualms and was good and cared about people and discovery for the sake of discovery, as opposed to the much more expediency of discovery in service to the furthering of Giren's power. It's almost like a large section of your soul got carved away in that explosion. And weirdly, the body, that memory seems to tie into a whole raft of memories of the past several weeks of working, developing the project, and doesn't seem to attach to any of your memories of being on Fantasia and everything you've actually been doing for the past couple of weeks.
So So Kasaldak had gotten a while back. It has when we were at the Wizard's Tower. The sentience elemental.
Mm-hmm.
that theoretically should be with her radiant form body.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's supposed to stay within 60 feet of it. She probably typically has it like hide 60 feet away whenever battle happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it conveniently doesn't exist until we need it to, because that's how intellect works.
Yes.
Yeah.
She would like to effectively download a copy of these memories to that sentience elemental, the stuff that is different, because that will hold potentially pertinent information on how to bring Kieran down.
Oh yeah.
And pertinent information as to if there is any truth to his claims that he has her family.
Sure. As you are thinking of this and realizing, yeah, I can take all this data that I now have access to and put it in the elemental, there's a part of you that is also realizing, oh, hey, there's this intelligence elemental on Fantasia that has a record of what my abomination has been up to this whole time. I should probably access that information. So make me roll me a d20 plus your spellcasting plus your spell attack to see which side of you decides what happens here.
The pure intelligence side or the caster side?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't hate me, dice. I was not happy about that. But spell attack bonus at this level is pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a dirty 20.
Okay. You sort of open the pathway to your intelligence elemental and begin feeding in all this lab work and this data, and you realize that you have grafted the enemy into you've created a sleeve that is a hybrid of yourself and the enemy. That is what where that carapace and stinger came from. And there are other exotic elements in that mix that I think you probably shy away from realizing what those are. But as you're sort of shying away from that thought and realization, you do see the data flowing back the other way as the version of you that lives in this body is starting to peruse what's in the intelligence element.
Okay. What Dr. Kasoldak would like to do then is find a self-destruct button for this body and switch it.
Okay. There are two ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One, you can seize control of like one hand and slam the void button, which is in all Vinthu sleeveries, because you never know when something's going to go wrong. There's just a kill the body immediately button available in all such situations.
Yeah.
Or what would be equally effective and probably a little more satisfying, but has the potential to fail, you could stab Giran in the face with your stinger.
Ooh.
Because then he will kill you.
Mm-hmm. But he will also potentially be aware and be able to figure out what has happened here with either.
But also, wouldn't an abomination do that kind of thing anyway, potentially?
It depends on how well designed it was.
Is there any memory other than like what just happened of it killing the other doctor? Is there any other memory of unprovoked acts of violence?
It
Speed of thought.
It does have one of those 2 exotic elements.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fighty, pretty punchy.
Yeah.
So that should have been stapled down.
Mm-hmm.
But if it hasn't been quashed well enough, yeah, it tends to lash out. He tends to lash out.
You said that part of what's going on here is also the enemy, though.
Yes.
And Dr. Kasaldak, the fuller part of Dr. Kasaldak that is the goodness within her,
Mm-hmm.
has been experimenting on how to change the way the enemy functions
Mm-hmm.
in ways that will cause it to self-destruct.
Mm-hmm. You have. Typically, that would involve introducing something which you don't really have. You don't have your kit currently.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a lot of legs. Like a lot of legs.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2 other minds worth of computing power.
Whoa.
There is another weirder thought.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way in which I could shove not just the memories, but those other minds and that tiny sliver of myself into the sentience elemental?
The sliver of yourself would undoubtedly resist that, so it would be tricky to get all 3. But the other 2 seem like they'd be pretty willing to leave.
And it'd be going into, I know it would be going into a body that would not be able to easily harm anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the intelligence elemental does not have an attack stat.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Voth would probably not be thrilled about.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think your husband would mind.
Plus, this character has often used intelligence to cause harm in ways that aren't direct attacks.
True.
Like, like the anti-enemy virus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make sense in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to shove everyone if I can, but prioritize shoving the other 2. And if I have to internally fight my own self.
Probably, because she doesn't want them to go anywhere.
I'm gonna...
Yeah.
For multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's if the Spider-Man meme broke out into fisticuffs.
Yeah. What sort of resources would you like to expend on this?
This is something that is incredibly important to Kasaldak.
Yes.
And she has all of her spells above 5th level still.
Okay.
Okay. Are you wanting to expend all of them? Because if you would like to expend every spell slot above 5th level you have, I will step back and you will tell me what happens.
Feel the power.
DM blank check. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't even have to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to expend a 9th level slot, we can work together to see what happens. All depends on how much you're comfortable with.
It's like a wish on whatever.
Steroids.
Whatever drug. Insert drug that means crazy a lot.
Yeah. I think Dr. Kasaldak never does things halfway.
That's fair.
Pretty true.
So she will expend six high-level spell slots to be like, I'm in control now.
You are.
I'm the captain now.
What happens?
Look at her. She is the captain now.
You are.
I think there is a there is a moment where Voss and why am I blanking on her husband's name? Because it's not been relevant.
I think it's Lipan? Something like that?
Lipan, yes.
Lipan, yes.
Voss and Lipan become more fully aware of the fact that the presence that has just entered this mind is the majority of their family member.
Mm-hmm.
And they become aware of, like, I think they almost see that moment where this is bad. They become aware of the moment that she, like, only just gave up because if Girin's floating it in front of me, then it's not real. And they see how desperate she is to get them away from Girin. And then there's probably a moment of almost flashback for Lipan of, oh my goodness, look at all of this power that's coming at me right now. Which is probably terrifying.
Yeah, no, he's getting some lab accident flashbacks, but also I think the primary reaction from those two is relief and joy, because from their perspective, you have been doing this to them. And now there is some understanding that this has not been you.
Yeah.
That you are back, and this thing that has been worrying your face while it has been doing these things to them hasn't been you. And I think the joy and relief of that, and the sort of overwhelming familial love that sort of binds the three of you together inseparably in that moment, is a bright, shining light that is probably blinding Girin and your evil sliver self. That's just my opinion. It's up to you.
So that happens. They are safe away in the Sentience Elemental. The sliver of herself the information that it knows has been gathered, and Kasaldak is now aware of what it has done to her family to some extent.
You are very aware.
So I think that gets destroyed.
All right. Yeah, that version of consciousness, I assume the body as well?
That version of consciousness, the implant that's in the body. And yeah, the body itself, I think pushing that much power into it does something, and because it's like, this is my body and I am pushing power into it, as in, I do not think this is a thing that Dr. Kasoldak will ever be able to replicate. Causes that body to basically entirely vaporize.
I imagine it takes a good chunk of the lab with it.
Probably.
Say, convert entire body's mass to energy.
That's like a nuke going off.
Yeah. Basically. And I know it won't actually, like, long-term hurt Garen, but man, that's gonna smart.
That's gonna be a thing.
Far more than any physical pain, you have hurt his pride pretty severely, because the version of you that he created to help run his little schemes just exploded in front of him after killing his other lab assistant. Like, project manager-wise, this is a terrible day.
I say, you've actually set his plans back a little bit.
Yeah, just hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to get past all of the guards, but you had the psychic mind path.
Turns out all you had to do was die.
All you gotta do is die.
It worked out. It just worked out this time. As an immortal skull, I understand how it goes.
It do be like that sometimes.
You just gotta die once or twice and just freshen things up a little.
With that enormous expenditure of power, I think Kasoldak in the last moments as she's setting off this vaporization is trying to follow the path that she made for this is so bad blinking on her family's names.
For life and death,
yeah.
It's all right. They don't come up too often.
They don't.
They're more just a guiding star.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a bit like the Millennium Falcon flying out of the exploding Death Star in Episode 6. Like there's the fire of the explosion all around the camera as you're sort of shooting out towards this sort of ethereal chain of light. And then as the sort of lab ignites and Garen cries out in pain, you zip off towards the intellect elemental in the wake of your family.
Yeah.
And I think the three of you have no difficulty in getting to the intelligence elemental, and I think there is a sort of timeless speed of thought embrace where everything is right with the universe for as long as it needs to be. But then the 6th second ticks, and you feel yourself drawn back from the elemental to your physical body. And while you still have a psychic link to them, you are back in your body. Congratulations, you have 1 hit point. So that feels like that was 6 seconds. Would you agree?
For immortal mind elemental. Yeah.
All right.
Not too bad. Not too bad of a turn.
Manev will think about running in and then stay put. Tom, you are occasionally allowed to play this game. What would you like to do? One Nightwalker is left. Both of your dead allies appear to be alive again. And one evil Nightwalker is trying to kill everyone still.
And I'm not able to stand here, am I?
You can sort of hop the balustrade, and you'll be up to your knees in water. But
all right, I'll do that. So he'll just kind of come out, and he's writing on on like a notepad with a very fancy looking pen, and he is going to cast plane shift, but to try and banish this unwilling creature.
That you would assume correctly. That is a wisdom save, I believe, on his part.
No, so I have to make a spell attack.
Okay.
And then he'll have to make a charisma save. I think.
Oh, even worse.
Because it's not actual banish, it's like...
Yeah.
Whatever else that was.
I remember that there was a save. I remember that there was a save, but I did not remember that there was a attack component. Yeah. Melee spell attack. Learn something new every day.
That is 24 to hit.
That will hit.
All right, so now it needs to make a DC 23 charisma save.
It rolled an 11.
All right.
What does this look like?
So basically, Revenue just is writing an order slip, and it just says "Return Department," and he just kind of flicks it onto the thing, and it's just immediately taken to a plane of hell to be kind of processed.
That's not an ominous tone of.
No, it's not.
It will learn that there are worse places than the Shadowfell to be.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, waste not. It's the Hydra Express.
Say, off it goes to be
Efficiency.
processed by the insurance bureaucracy.
He's going to be buried in paperwork for weeks.
All right. That's some movement and an action. Anything else you'd like to do?
I think I can get. I'll step back out of the water.
Okay. So, pick some water out of your boot.
That's the true horror of devils, though. The level of bureaucracy.
Now I suppose the question is, are we still on initiative?
I don't think.
I mean, that is... Well, despair is still here. So it is up to you all if the fight is continuing. So I suppose I should just ask, Captain Yumi. You are muted.
I'm muted. Captain Yumi is probably gonna, focus more on making sure that the doctor is up and about. So he will sort of shift, keeping his gun sort of trailed on the sister.
Never
He
turn
will
your back
shift
on
sideways towards the doctor and like crouch down on one knee and like check pulse or whatever, depending on how active she is at this point.
Do you want to make me either a medicine or an insight or something like that?
Sure, I can make a medicine check here. 19.
Doctor? How you doing?
She is exhausted.
Emotionally hurt.
Exhausted but breathing.
Metaphysically exhausted.
All right. You find that she is exhausted but breathing. Also, wherever that intelligence elemental that she's been carrying around since the Archmage's Tower, it's a lot brighter.
Say, you now have a sun orbiting the black hole that is your mind.
And a husband. Anything else? Just ready to shoot despair should the need arise?
Yeah, probably.
Delight. You're back on the prime material. I think your sister is probably hugging you. What are you doing?
Yeah, as her strength returns, she hugs back to the degree that a person injured to 1 HP would be able to. uh, your sword. Are you okay? Is it gonna take hold of you again?
I hope not. I have thought such terrible things about you that today I found out have all been lies. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You saved me. You pulled me out.
I think that was very much a group effort.
And you were a part of it. See? I knew it was just that nasty sword. But maybe we can help him too. Like how I helped Hanzo.
I don't know that he wants help, but
Yeah, well, no one sometimes people don't want help, but they need it. And we can give it to them. And then I'm gonna cast a healing spell.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea.
And as I cough up blood.
You cough up some blood. Hanzo will float over to you, and then, like, as he gets to a point where he's both adjacent to you and Despair, he'll suddenly stop and rotate. And Roz will sort of lift up from Despair's belt to float in the air and rotate. Zephyr, you feel your sword sort of pulling in that direction. Do you resist that?
With the last couple of rolls, I'm going to say no.
Okay. So you sort of get pulled about 5 feet closer as the swords form up into like a, what is the shape of the like interior angles of an equilateral triangle? The points are all together.
I don't know, but I get.
And they're at right angles to each other. It's a thing.
The points of a triangular pyramid.
Yeah.
Well, we got it. We got it.
It's
probably an obscure word for that thing, but we know what
that
you're saying.
thing occurs, and you can hear Hanzo just shouting in all of your minds, and you can hear Roz shouting in all of your minds, and you can hear Clarion shouting in all of your minds. And there's not much words to it. It's just 3 different tones.
It's a chord.
It's not quite a chord yet. It is very
a discord, rather. Yes.
It is a discord that is slowly drifting towards harmony as the points come together and meet, and there is rage and betrayal and shame and regret and joy and bloodlust and the satisfaction of manipulation, and there are just these waves of conflicting, powerful emotions just sort of surging through the lot of you, through the psychic link that you all have together to Hanzo. And it's like watching 3 disparate lives come together to a single point. It's like enemies to lovers, but for family and not in a kinky way.
So just very typical brothers meeting up again.
It's very typical brothers meeting up again, and actually burying the hatchet that is a magic sword. And you can sort of feel hatred peeling away from Roz, and you can feel regret peeling away from Clarion, and you can feel bloodlust not exactly peeling away from Hanzo, but becoming slightly more managed.
Controlled, yeah.
Yeah. And then everything goes quiet. And Hanzo just falls to the ground. Roz falls to the ground. And Clarion stops sort of holding up Zephyr's arm and just falls back to your side.
All right.
And I think at that point, we're probably off combat.
Okay, well, for my action, I'm still gonna
Yeah, you're still
instantly
going to
cast 4th level cure on myself.
Seems smart.
Get back 21 HP.
I'm going to delete the section of the Hanzo upgrade that I labeled Hanzo without a soul, which was something that could have happened.
Yep.
And then I'm going to post this in the chat. But all your Hanzo stuff gets slightly better.
Yay.
And you get your choice of 2 abilities from a list of things that I've given you.
Cool.
I'm just going to put in the regular group chat because I feel like it's
a
not
lot of
not
words.
not important to keep that hidden from anyone.
Yeah. Fair.
At some point, also the concentration on maze will end. But I imagine you have some time for that because all that took about 12 to 18 seconds, and I think maze is like 10 minutes.
We're seriously, it's like anime series levels of like in these few seconds where they were dead, these like cosmic occurrences happened over the course of multiple episodes, and it was just like an extremely fast and bloody battle.
Namek will explode in 5 seconds. Yeah. I subscribe to the Frieza rule of timekeeping.
Right, exactly.
I'll say the.
But yes, you do have quite a while before maze will forcibly end, but you can always end it earlier if you all decide what to do.
There it is. Up to 10 minutes concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Sound off. Who's not dead?
I think we're all alive.
Oh.
Well, the Ventu have made it through again.
Somehow.
I'm not dead.
You're not supposed to be able to come back from...
I actually came through that
Nightwalkers.
relatively unscathed.
And Gieran's not happy.
Oh.
Oh,
Do tell.
Well, he's never happy.
Were you doing some wandering after death?
Apparently the last time that I died. Vaguely. When there was the lab explosion that caused all of this, and she just like gestured at herself. Yes. Apparently, it also minorly split my soul. And all of the parts that were not good and didn't care about other people and only wanted results got left with Gieran.
Do you have those back?
I destroyed them.
Oh.
Hey, good job.
At least
Oh.
one of them.
I'll say a little. That would be emotional surgery?
Yes. Although also they had,
Amputation.
I suppose.
Who hasn't done a little bit of soul splicing in their time?
Soul
Come
pruning.
on now.
Well, say splicing. Kind of look at the.
Well, cutting,
Anything.
splicing, whatever.
Well.
Doing stuff with it.
apparently Garen and that portion of myself had done their own splicing and had placed both Lysander and Voth in that thing's body.
Whoa.
Extra computing power. But now they're here, and she lifts. She puts out. She almost puts out a finger like you would if you're catching a bird, and the little sentience elemental lands on it.
Mm-hmm. Sort of pulses merrily.
I'll have to go back to the forge and figure out how to make bodies for them now, I suppose.
I mean, Karn's been working on a very magical suit of armor.
Ooh.
That Voth would probably freaking love.
Mm-hmm.
See, I believe we've seen this plot. It was in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh no!
Karn's work wouldn't be as dependent on a single
Right.
seal in the back of the neck, though.
They
He
got
does
any
good
any
work.
dogs to splay?
That's waiting for you in Giran's lab.
Yeah, I think you've just described Giran very accurately. Oh. I don't think we've been introduced to your sister.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Well, this is Despair. She has a sword too.
And he's not trying to take over my mind anymore.
And
Sure.
wings.
Mm-hmm. Just slightly better armor as well. And a shared history in archaeology and ancient ruins and finding more than we expect in them.
Yeah.
And you all are...
These are my friends.
Mm.
I'm bound by oath to protect them. By my
Oh.
sacred order. Yeah.
Mm.
Because
Say,
we're doing important missions. We're gonna
Mm.
save the world.
so, Gromash, Tiberiork Ironhide III, Emperor of Tuscar. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh. She will perform an Araquethian, like an archaic Age of Dance, or Age of Footloose, sorry,
Yeah.
dance that both communicates appropriate respect, regret at the surprise of your meeting, and the Golden Age of Footloose also had a particular pirouette that was, sorry I tried to kill you, I was mind controlled at the time. That Zephyr understands all of,
It's a
but
very distinctive dance.
yeah.
Say the subtleties might be lost on me, but I do appreciate the endeavor.
Although, I thought the Empress of Tuscar, well, she had been here.
That's something we need to sort out.
Well, I don't think I want to be here for that tonight. I know you have important things to do.
Yeah, I mean
But
things
I
are
also-
things are probably about to pop off around here, realistically.
Did you also feel the hold that Belial has on us weaken?
Yeah.
I think I want to go to try to stab him in the face.
Yeah.
Now that Raz isn't, fighting me on anything, I might go do some research and figure out how to do that. Maybe when you're done saving the world, we could go on a quest together and
No.
Yeah,
Cut
we'll
off our-
figure it out together.
cut off our progenitor's dick.
Hey!
If you're looking for research, you can't go wrong starting in Bluestone.
Is that related to Greenstone?
Greenstone, thank you.
Oh. Do you want to tell her about the Archmage's Tower?
That
would also
was
be a
what
good
I
place
was
to start.
thinking. Yeah, actually. Where was that again?
That was in the.
In Mornlands? Or...
No, that's in Tuscar in the Burning Ways.
It's in the Burning Way. It's in the
Oh, right.
Bloodline.
We went
Bloodlust,
through the
yeah.
Mornlands, but that wasn't in
Yeah,
there. Okay, never mind.
it's in the Burning Desert. There's a tower icon on the map.
It's not exactly a safe place, but certainly a place with information.
Well,
But you can lose track of time there quite easily.
Just be careful.
Is that true, or is it more like time loses track of you?
I suppose.
I didn't quite understand what was going on there.
Same thing, really.
And if you
The
have
latter is slightly more accurate.
and if you have any more troubles, do you know the sending spell?
I do, and actually, I have an idea. And she's going to take a minute to cast. Actually, I think she can probably use. No, she can't use Glyph of Warding because that stops working if you move. So she's going to use Contingency and cast Sending into it, so that if she ever loses control of herself again, you will get a message that says, "Hi, this is your sister. I've been dominated. Please help." I'll just keep that up.
Yeah. Perfect.
And you also know the Sending spell, I hope.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll have to keep in touch.
We should do a better job of
Yeah.
that, because I spent the last several years thinking that we hated each other, and I'm sure they would have blanked my memory of a Sending, but wouldn't have hurt. Anyway, sorry I tried to kill you all, but I'm going to leave before someone in authority tells me to stay.
Okay.
And she will give you
Be safe.
I would tell you to be safe, but I don't think that's going to happen. You're saving the world, sister.
Well, I have a lot of strong friends to help.
And
she also has a place where she stays that you could visit sometime if you'd like.
Oh. Where do you stay?
I mentioned
You're talking
the
about
forge.
the forge?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we have I don't know, it's just like a place. I think it's on another plane.
Oh.
Wouldn't be too hard to fashion a guest pass.
Oh, you know what we could do? We could just let you in there, and then Nobu can make you a hammer. Then you could access it.
Oh, who's Nobu?
Oh, sorry. He's one of the knights from my order.
Oh, okay.
He's the greatest craftsman ever. He has a magic suit of golden armor.
Despair will probably ask like a pointed historical question about how he stacks up against like Karn or some ancient Araquethian smith that you're both.
How does he stack up against Karn? Funny you should mention that.
Well,
they've actually got a competition going.
Say, don't mention Karn. Let it be as you'll hear in your mind.
Well, he's trying to see how well he stacks up against Karn, but he's working on some masterworks right now, I think.
Oh, I'd like to meet him.
Okay. We just have so much stuff going on here. Here, let's just open the portal and we'll catch up. And I'm sure you just tell them Delight sent you.
I'll do that.
And then who has hammer?
You all have a hammer.
Yeah,
It's just
Okay,
that
that's
it
fair.
takes a minute, so it can't really be used in combat. So you just tap an empty point in space insistently for a minute, and then that'll open the gate.
Cool. We did it.
I'm suggesting a guest key, which is you can ask permission to be let in.
Right.
Nobu or Karn, either one can make one of those pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you open a portal, Despair will pop through, and I imagine there's like an almost immediate like archaeology nerd shriek of like joy at the sight of Karn himself.
Yeah.
Everything. And
We
all
did it.
the iconography indicating. So you let loose a archaeology nerd, and it's like if Night at the Museum actually happened and
Right.
was able to talk to people. So the rate of work in the forge may slow down for the next few hours as Despair.
Guys, she might have
That's a
to
lot of
change her
pressure.
name away from Despair. She seems pretty happy.
She's getting there.
Dex
Turns out not being mind controlled is a pretty liberating.
Gives you a new lease on life.
Yeah. All right. So we've taken the sister and put her in the box.
Yay.
Doctor, how are you feeling?
Alive, but barely.
Well, we should be able to take care of the barely part.
Zephyr, how good a hold do you have on the box currently holding the Empress?
Have 9 HP.
I imagine time has passed as we've been doing these various things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which actually brings up a really good point. Do we need to be on the material plane? Like, where's the Empress going to?
I think she'll pop back where she started.
We talking about the
Yeah, I
base
think
spell?
that's...
Yeah,
Yeah,
reappears in
she'll
the
show
space
right
of light.
back up.
Yeah.
So she'll show up.
I'm gonna.
I imagine even if Delight and Despair go to the other plane, like Zephyr at least will stay behind with Grom and discuss plans for like what, So what now?
Yeah, I mean, I left the
speaking
door. I left the door open and came back. But also, I'm just healing Dr. Kasalduk for 9 real quick.
Get up to double digits.
Is the doctor like so out of spell slots that she can't heal herself? Is that what's going on?
She can heal herself a little bit. I just haven't
Nothing
gotten
high
around to
level.
it.
You do have all those
Would
scrolls
you-
of heal.
Oh, right.
I also
All
could
right.
Yeah.
burn in a few slots if
I have a lot
needed.
of those.
Yeah.
So
We
I'll
just-
Yeah, it's up to you. I can burn some slots.
We
if
just
need
also slots come back faster than those too. So
in the scrolls.
whatever's
Yeah,
practical.
You've had a busy day.
I'll give
Well,
myself
how much health are we down
We're
here?
probably due for a rest soon anyway. Honestly, it might not
I can
be-
burn some here.
But it's more just
I'm
like
down
we're
exactly 70.
this is all the preamble to saying, hey, we're starting a coup in your empire. So
No, we have already accomplished.
well,
a coup
yeah,
in
I
your
guess
empire.
that's fair. That's fair.
The coup is a fait accompli at this point.
Yeah.
She just doesn't know it yet.
No, this is the. Is this going to be a problem
Yeah.
conversation?
No.
And considering how she is, she could make enormous problems.
Mhm.
So this is a will you cooperate kind of thing.
What will it take to make you cooperate?
Oh, I have some ideas. Don't worry.
Oh,
Because
that
the
was
drone actually
not.
wants the Emperor.
What were you thinking? That he just kind of crunch and call it good?
Mhm.
All right.
No.
Delight and Doctor can both take 23 hit points.
Yay.
Nice.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure you wanted to be emperor.
Mhm.
No, I think I questioned whether I wanted to be emperor or not.
It's a thing that you see in these stories.
Is
like,
there
like
anything?
the Paul Atreides? I don't know if
Yeah.
I am up for this, but I could be. And then you're like, you know what? It's gotta happen.
Is there anything we need to do to prepare for her return?
I do have a small will to read before combat commences again. That concerns Zephyr and Grom. Might be important for your negotiating position as well. I imagine it would only take me about 5 minutes to.
I just love the guy we met 5 minutes ago, juxtaposed with all of this like deep, like ancient lore.
Yeah, say the giant 3/4 orc holding an axe the size of Revenue will
Oh
will
yeah, I
look
guess
over and
I'd totally forgotten that we had a new random.
and realize that you're there again and go, oh, I'm dreadfully sorry.
The little 18 seconds.
We can sort out your new business before we go back to old business.
Very good. He takes out some reading glasses and opens up a letter that has a seal on it of. You'll see it has a Hydra Express seal and it has a purple Hydra head as highlighted as he opens it. Reading out the last will and testament of Frankie Eldon. Basically, what Frankie has done is he has used the trade deals that Dredd had negotiated with different factions throughout his travels with you guys, but since he had gotten what he wanted, becoming Toby's familiar, he transferred the credit onto your party instead, which just basically, beyond Frankie's X seats, has just kind of really given you a full commanding position of Hydra Express to the point that you're able to create your own department, which would be Hydra Express Purple. And with that, Frankie has designated Revenue as your legal counsel and to the rest of Hydra Express, due to his close, just knowledge of Hydra Express Gold's rules. He's known as one of the most sort of uncorruptible of them, to the point that he was very happy to see Prophet was taken away, despite her being his mother.
What?
Because she hadn't followed the actual protocol of Hydra. At that point she was excommunicate, and so he was very much just, those are the rules. And he comes very highly recommended by his father, Toby, as well.
Oh God.
So he's, Hydra Express through and through, but to a point that you can trust just by how indoctrinated he is. But he will be your liaison and legal counsel. And his entire purpose is to ensure that you can do what you want and do it legally.
We have inherited a lawyer, Zephyr.
And you do need to eventually go to your Hydra Express department, where your office is, and kind of sign the final paperwork to get everything running. But that can be done at a different time. To cement this, Revenue will pull out a small chest, and then, let me see.
Zephyr, how do we feel about having a lawyer?
I'm trying to decide how lawyers are generally seen in this world.
It can't be viewed worse than in our world, so.
Well, do any of you want to deal with all the Hydra Express rules and nonsense?
No, this seems like an excellent solution to a problem that Dredd and Frankie have landed us with.
So, he will be utilizing Lumen's secret chest. So basically he just pulls out a little chest, and then activates it, creating a much bigger full-size chest. He opens it. Inside is two sealed packets with the seal of the new Hydra Express form, but you can actually see Frankie's handwriting on each of them. That one says Zephyr, one says Grom, and they've got like a packet on top and then the actual like parcel underneath. And he hands them to each of you.
A dragon turtle. Definitely very Frankie. I will open the packet and the parcel.
All right. So in the packet are just kind of they're Frankie's business notes and suggestions. So it's just something that you're able to reference if you need kind of an unbiased insight into Hydra Express's from a source that you can trust. Well, it's from Frankie, so I mean that's. I sound sketchy, but Frankie doesn't. But it's just a way of kind of giving you. It kind of translates so that way you can communicate with Revenue about what you want without really needing to rely on Revenue's descriptions. Or if you don't want to, if you don't trust Revenue, you've got a way of telling Revenue what to do without feeling like he's gonna double cross you or. I don't know. It's a way of being like, this is not it gives you a little bit more of a leg up on that. And then opening the packages, you will each find a different magical item that utilizing how many magic items Frankie I was able to make for this. I just kind of made an inheritance instead.
Nice.
So Grom, you will find a scaled ornament that is a legendary rarity.
Okay, I'll have to look this up.
So what it does is it gives you advantage on saving throws to avoid being charmed or frightened, but then it also so that's the slumbering, but like now you get a +1 to AC. You can't be charmed or frightened. Moreover, each creature within 30 feet of you has advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened, or to end those conditions on themselves. When you take damage,
we'll just say that's breath weapon of any dragon.
Cool. And then what's the legendary one? I took a picture and then it cut out.
Yep, I've got it right here.
The
I have a
ascended
flying
scale
speed and can hover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can fly with Frankie's. I think what it would look like is this literal like you're walking on like pink dust like turtles that are just like creating a floor for you.
Purple turtles all the way down.
Yeah,
Yep.
You're able to just walk across those like flying ones. And then Zephyr, what you get, which I thought would be very useful to you, is a Scarab of Protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what that is you have advantage on saving throws against spells, and the Scarab has, and we'll just call this like a little, it's just a turtle shell. It's kind of odd that it's so small. But you have 12 charges. If you fail a saving throw against a necromancy spell or a harmful effect originating from an undead creature, you can use your reaction to expand one charge and turn that failed save into a successful one.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you use the charges, it crumbles into dust.
Yeah, you have 12.
Advantage on saving throws against spells and 12 charges of resistance to undead. Which
and it just says on the bottom of the shell, it just says, "No, Grandpa."
In addition to those two items, Frankie's notes on the Hydra Express are the equivalent of a tome of leadership and influence. So you each have one of those.
Oh.
Which is the charisma tome.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in addition to your 2 seats on the board, you now also have your own department, which gives you quite a bit of influence in the whole structure of the company as a whole. So you're no longer just mouthpieces on the board. Ignoring you has
Real consequences.
real consequences to the company. Although it will take someone like Revenue to
Figure out what those will be.
convert that into corpo speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I, looking down at his, battered and bloodied form, go,
Mhm.
I wish we were meeting in more comfortable circumstances, but pleasure to meet you, Revenue. It'll be nice to work with you going forward. And he will offer the massive hand.
Absolutely.
Shake.
Pleasure.
Shake.
As you see, he has lost 3 hit points in the entire combat.
So both of you are above 150, so I don't know what battered.
Yeah. Revenue will lose 3 more hit points in the handshake.
Right? Yeah, it caused more damage.
Definitely one of those combats where the damage was tilted in specific directions.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to write up a legal argument for why you are completely arguably the Emperor of Tuskar?
Yeah, a bullet would make that legal argument even more robust, I'd imagine.
It's true. Really, the only thing holding you back is the living part of that person.
But I suppose I do not quite understand what our goals are when she returns.
I need a counterweight.
She's the Empress, right?
Yep.
Yes.
There's no current Emperor
I am the current Emperor.
other than you.
Other
Like,
than
does she have a mate?
yes,
Her consort
upstairs.
was spelled by
okay.
Blackmore, but he doesn't have political power.
Okay.
He just
He's
is
just a
big.
real cool guy.
Yeah.
How does
He's
the
up there,
Emperor
right?
like? Is it through? Does the Emperor is it through like combat only, or is it like an election, or is it like is the
It's by
Emperor?
holding the axe.
So
Does a child?
it is by acclamation. So typically that is by the Senate. An emperor is selected. And there have been instances of multiple emperors being selected by different groups of senators before. Normally these presage a civil war.
I think it's been a minute since that's happened because I think the Dusk Runners have done a pretty good job of fixing the acclamation before it happened for the past couple of iterations, which is why it's no surprise that Empress Umberfang was the head of the Dusk Runners before she became Empress. So the sort of political lever to really pull is the Dusk Runners, who you found out earlier today is run by Grom's soon-to-be mother-in-law, who seems very okay with her son's fiance being emperor. So things are
turning up, Grom.
Yeah. Imagine my surprise at that, but to continue my thought, there are political weights moving. The Emperor is always a fulcrum between those weights. And right now, the only political weight outside of me and a Senate that doesn't know what it's doing is the Platinum Orc. And I would very much like a counterweight to him. And the Empress, hopefully soon, former Empress Umberfang, in her quiet retirement as cherished advisor,
The Empress Dowager.
Might provide that counterweight. At the very least, she'd make Caligork think twice about what he's doing.
There is probably a reason he didn't start his coup until after she had been missing for a few days.
Exactly.
That's a valid plan.
Whether or not she goes along with it is...
That will remain to be seen.
And of course, the reality of the situation, I might die. And
Always good to have a backup.
exactly. Someone ready to step into the place.
You just don't want them to be too ready to do that.
Exactly. Really, I think this is probably going to be a bit of a thankless job, Emperor.
You did in her fevered, poisoned delirium before you yeeted her to another plane of existence to continue being poisoned there. She did seem intent on finding someone.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did
she
we
may have
catch the
some.
name?
I mean, she seemed to be calling. She seemed to be uncharacteristically calling for mercy, while at the same
Very.
time talking about needing to find her son.
It's a very unusual name.
But may be unrelated.
It's very strange that someone known as the Adamantium Empress would call out for mercy.
Yeah, that's why it's uncharacteristic. So.
Yeah, Grom is voicing that aloud.
Depending on the length of torture, someone's core characteristics can relatively easily be changed.
Well, if that's the case, then she's very much no longer the Empress. But
I think returning the Empress and having this conversation probably can wait until next time, because it is fairly close to 11, and some people wake up in the morning. There is just one thing I want to leave with you before we end the session, and that is a sending message for the Emperor.
Oh, goody.
From the Platinum Orc.
Oh, goody.
Imperator. A space alien has arrived and wishes to speak with you. Their name is Asnable, and they have ships.
Plural.
Non-binary. So
No, I'm saying
ship.
the word ship was
yeah.
plural.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. I will share this across the mental web. Just enough to turn to Captain Yumi.
Yes, on it.
What species does that name denote?
Captain Yumi will pull up, stuff and start zipping through what he can gather of. So I don't know if how easy it is to figure out if name to species is.
I'm almost certain you've heard this name. Do you want to make me
okay.
quick history check? Because this is
Sure.
probably someone you've heard of.
Oh, okay. So if it's like big dude.
Oh yeah.
History.
Famous war hero. Yeah.
Unnatural 20.
Okay. Asnable was, according to the implanted memories that you had forced upon you. So as a piece of Ventu propaganda, Asnable was a great war hero in the battle against the enemy. Volunteered for a suicide mission, sort of piloting an asteroid into a system the enemy was in the process of consuming and setting off a nuclear explosion. And it was believed that the weight of their direct contact with the enemy's sort of psychic mass and weight corrupted their uplink, so they were unable to be re-sleeved.
Oh, how convenient of a story for somebody that decided to, what's the word? Rebel?
Untether.
Untether, yeah.
However, they have been a sort of in some memories that you have that you weren't allowed to have before you took your implant out. Aznable is not. It's not as simple as being the leader, but is one of the most influential members of the Untethered, who were the rebel group that Calda and Mercy were rocking around with out in space.
Yeah.
Which probably explains how they know that Fantasia exists, and if they have ships, they probably have a lot of ships.
Is there any information I can gather about the awareness that the Venthu have of this fleet?
You are aware that the fleet officially does not exist, but they're also sending orders to blow it out of the sky.
But not exist in general, but are there news broadcasts or military directives saying, hey, this fleet just showed up and went to this country, or anything along those lines?
There's nothing official about it.
Okay.
You can estimate from historical tragedies and ships lost due to industrial accidents and, defeats in sectors that don't actually exist. It's not really like a war fleet. Most of the ships are primarily civilian or industrial grade, but you estimate that it could probably ferry tens of thousands of soldiers.
It's a rare pickle sighting over my shoulder.
It's a pickle.
We can assume that the Venthu here in the area know that this fleet has shown up. Giran knows that they're here.
He may or may not know.
Okay, so there's nothing so crazy of a reaction that seems to indicate.
There's no indication that anyone local is aware that these ships have arrived, and the Untethered wouldn't last very long if they didn't have a way to avoid detection when they wanted to.
Captain Yumi will communicate this information. He does. He very quickly and still is, very deferential towards Grom in a way he wasn't before. Using the official term, not in like some sort of patsy type way, but he is
you are in heavily indoctrinated military individuals. So
yes, and earlier, he did he was the one shouting from the rooftops, "Hey, check this out! You guys got a new emperor!" He's definitely a fan of the idea of the weight that is able to be thrown around these days between emperor stuff, and we got Godling and Hydra Express stuff going on, and
you're on sending terms with the Queen of Araqueth.
We got some ancient heroes and insane alchemists that we know, and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, you are. You got a lot of levels of influence to throw around. About 20 of them. But essentially, I've decided to solve the space transport problem for you because I kept asking, and it didn't sound like answering it was fun for anyone. So I solved it. So
cool. I like that.
You once you resolve the whole who's in charge of Tuskar thing, and if you can resolve what's going on in Tharbad, you will have a large military force and the means to take it to space, and you will yourselves have the means to travel in space. So
great.
We will finally do that which you've been begging us to do for 6 months now.
But that's the thing, though. We've gone back and forth about so many things about the plan, but the overall thread that I think is solid and we have been doing is a unified Fantasia has to take on this problem.
Yeah.
So we're just putting the pieces together.
You are consolidating things in Fantasia.
Yeah.
but there's only so many more things to do there. And now, once you got those accomplished, you have the means to go to
Well,
space.
you have to it's important to make sure your faction isn't busy killing each other before you go in on a space crusade.
But we might actually finish the campaign at some point.
Someday.
Maybe. Someday.
Someday, beyond the
Making
stars.
progress.
Someday, maybe
Say,
on Mars.
On that note, having had all kinds of things happen in the last 3 hours, I'm going to go to sleep.
Good night.
Good
Good night, all.
everybody.
Great session.
Don't
Good
sneak
night,
off and adopt an
everybody.
Australian Shepherd.
See ya.
Or do.
See ya.
All right, well, hope you had fun. I hope you're able to laugh, even if it was at our expense. And I hope that if anything's weighing on you, it feels a little bit lighter after hanging out online with friends. With friends, rather. My voice cracked. And until next time, stand by for the raid. We're going to go out to Savala. But until next time, bye.